Greetings everyone, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, here to bring you another episode review from Season 5 of The Loud House. Today's episode is titled Undercover Mom. First we'll discuss the plot, and then my thoughts and critiques with my final score. So, let's get right into it. The episode begins with Rita trying to have a conversation with Luan, Luna, and Leni on their way to school, but the girls don't seem interested in talking. When they choose not to kiss their mom goodbye before getting out of the car, Rita laments how her daughters are becoming more distant with her. When one of her co-workers explains how he was undercover while writing a news piece, Rita gets the idea to go undercover herself to write a story about teen life, although her true intention is to get her girls to finally open up to her. She disguises herself as a new girl named Rita and quickly makes friends with her daughters, who surprisingly don't realize they're talking to their own mom. Even though Rita says she finished writing her news story, she intends to continue leading a double life as Rita as a way of spending more time with her daughters. When the Lau sisters invite Rita home for dinner, Rita tries to keep her charade going without being noticed, but she's eventually caught and the high schoolers angrily leave the table. After that, Rita scraps her original news article and writes a brand new one that, even though it wasn't the one Miss Hiller was expecting, it was a story Rita felt she needed to write. Luna, Leni, and Luan each find a copy of their mom's story and praise their mom for what she had done. They all agree to set aside some time to spend together and decide to start right away. But not before Rita gets hit with one of Luan's pranks, which her mom happily lets slide. Well, that concludes the plot of the episode, so now we come to my thoughts and critiques. It may be an unpopular opinion, but for me, I may have just found the best parent episode of The Loud House, and I don't believe any other episode starring Mr. or Mrs. Loud can ever top this one. You may agree or disagree, but when it comes to the authenticity of the central message, and given the real-life circumstances applied to this story, it's more relatable to both kids and parents than you might think. Although I think this episode may have just been written for the parents. Rita was definitely the best thing about this episode. The emotion she felt when her daughters didn't want to talk to her or kiss her goodbye were as genuine as you could get, and I don't blame her for feeling sad. Her kids were as cold as ice. But this doesn't make Luan, Luna, or Leni selfish or mean. It makes them realistic teenagers. Let's face it, when we were their age, we all reached a point where we were isolating ourselves from our parents and didn't feel comfortable disclosing all kinds of personal information to them. We felt more comfortable expressing our thoughts and feelings to our friends. There's a lot of psychology behind the idea of teenage self-disclosure between peers and family, a lot of which I studied when I was in school, but I'm not going to bore anyone with everything that needs to be said about this topic. To make it easier, watch the Full House episode, Oh Where Has My Little Girl Gone?, and you'll see a similar type of storyline. Just take away the idea of a parent going undercover as someone else to get to the bottom of the issue. That's my only nitpick for this episode. Neither Leni, Luna, nor Luan could figure out the girl to whom they were talking was their own mother. They couldn't see past the height difference, the wig, or the voice, which did kind of catch me off guard. Even those little motherly mannerisms like Rita figuring out Luna's handshake on the first try, and telling Luan not to prank anyone didn't seem to raise any suspicions. Even the scene with the cell phone and the nearly caught moments at dinner didn't evoke an ounce of skepticism. But it's really not that big of a deal. The girls admitted they felt really comfortable around Rita and felt as if they've known her all their lives. If they didn't trust this new girl, they would have never opened up about what was going on in their personal lives. Leni says she has a crush on a boy at school, and it's not Chaz. I guess either their relationship never worked out, or Chaz graduated in Lori's class and moved away. There goes that ship of ever being made official. Of course, Luna makes her own ship official when she talks about getting into a fight with Sam, her girlfriend. Ha! Now it's legit. What more proof do you need that they're dating? Luan even lets Rita know about a prank she's about to pull on Principal Rivers. Ordinarily, she would never let her mom know about pranks since she knows her mom would tell her not to do them. But since she was with someone her own age, she had no problem talking about impending practical jokes. Would she have tried to warn her mom about the prank she was planning to pull at the end of the episode if she never read that news article? Yeah, pretty much. Speaking of the news article Rita was writing, that was the one thing that tied the entire episode together. Rita openly admits that she wasn't going undercover to write a story. She needed an excuse to fix what she considered a broken connection between herself and her daughters. She needed to accept the fact her children were growing up, and no matter how much she wanted to hang on, she had to let them go and become more independent. She had her girls disclose a lot of private information under false pretenses, and she knew it was wrong to break their trust. She tells her readers that when you let your kids grow up and become their own person, you have to trust their better judgment that they'll come to their parents when they need to. You can say that speech shoved the moral of the story down the audience's throat, but I don't care. Depending on who you are, especially if you're a parent watching the episode, that little speech can really hit close to home. It certainly struck an emotional nerve in the Loud sisters, and I think it's safe to say that whatever disconnection they had with their mother before, it certainly got fixed by the end. Overall, I can sum up this episode in just one word, and that word would be brilliant. It was brilliantly realistic in how it handled the strained mother-teenager relationships, brilliantly relatable since we've all experienced this kind of conflict in our lives, and if anything, it was the highest point of development in Rita's character, and that too was brilliant. I don't want to hear anyone say, she was more emotionally stable and schooled compared to her husband, so why didn't this episode go to him? Fair point, but here's the deal. Maybe Lin Sr. had finally come to terms with how his daughters were growing up, and maybe Rita had to be the one to put on a brave face in the season 5 premiere. However, over time, Rita's strong emotional stability may have gotten weaker, seeing how her daughters were distancing themselves from her, and what caring and loving mother wouldn't be overcome with sadness knowing her children didn't need her as much anymore. Her thoughts and feelings were as real could be. Same for the Loud sisters. So you can't say there were any out-of-character moments here. I have nothing but respect for the way the writers handled these 4 characters and the story overall. It was great seeing the return of Jesse Hiller and the Royal Woods Gazette, confirming Rita now works for the Gazette full-time. So long, Dr. Feinstein! And it was really cool finally getting in-show confirmation about the Luna x Sam pairing. Besides my one nitpick about not being able to see through Rita's Brita disguise on several occasions, I have absolutely nothing horrible to say about this episode. With that said, I give Undercover Mom a 9.9 out of 10. Well, folks, that concludes my review of Undercover Mom. Given the groundwork Rita laid out about wanting to become a full-time writer in the season 1 episode A Novel Idea, and then finally reaching that goal in Right or Wrong in season 4, after many scenes of her typing on her laptop in between, it's safe to say this season 5 episode has brought her career ambitions full circle, and I greatly appreciate that. One question remains: who's going to fill those cavities now? Not her problem anymore. So what did you guys think of it? Love it? Hate it? Something you would add? Change? Keep it as it is? Let me know in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe to this channel for the latest Loud House content. That's going to do it for me. I'll catch you guys for the next video, but until then, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, signing off. Peace out, home slices.